What's up, everyone? Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies, and welcome to my review of Eddington, the fourth movie from writer-director Ari Aster. Joaquin Phoenix plays the sheriff of the fictional town of Eddington, New Mexico, whose position on masking leads him to run against the sitting mayor, played by Pedro Pascal, during the summer of 2020. As the two are locked in a political standoff, the small, quiet town soon finds itself grappling with local and national controversies. Before I jump into the review, do me a favor, make sure you subscribe. That way you can keep up with everything I'm posting on the channel, including all of the movie reviews, entertainment news, and more.
How did we get here? And even worse, is it worth it? At the cost of being at war with your neighbors? That's why I'm running for mayor. Mayor of Eddington. Thank you super duper very much.
Eddington is a satirical look at the pandemic. Aster paints a very bleak picture of life during that time, including the politics that were taking place, often showing things in the most ridiculous and absurd ways. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like to look back on 2020. That was just a very tough time just because of the pandemic and everything that was going on. And it also feels too soon to go back and do a deep dive discussion examination of that particular time. But nonetheless, Ari Aster decided to set his new movie during that time period and explore the different politics that were taking place. Now we see this story play out from the perspective of Joaquin Phoenix's Sheriff Joe Cross, who has asthma and takes a very staunch position against masking mandates. That's in contrast to his political rival, Ted Garcia, played by Pedro Pascal, who is very much in line with the masking mandates and policies that are being handed down from the governor and the federal government. These two, who are locked in a very contentious feud, offer the most compelling interactions in the movie. It's a nice little back and forth game of different ideologies. Now, there's so many messages that can be pulled from this movie, and I'll be honest, on a first viewing, I'm not sure I got all of them. But one of the biggest messages is that 2020 basically served as a catalyst for this country becoming even more divided than it already was. And Eddington basically is a scaled down representation of what was happening. For me, though, most of the messaging was lost because it seemed like Aster was throwing as many ideas as he could into this movie. Every major political controversy that took place in 2020 is mentioned here in some way. You have masking, you have vaccinations, Black Lives Matter, abortion, guns, conspiracy theories, misinformation. The list goes on, but not all of these ideas are explored in a compelling way. The movie mostly takes a moderate approach, holding a mirror to the issues that it's presenting rather than taking sides, but it keeps the movie from saying anything interesting beyond what we already know on how things played out in real life. This movie is also stuffed with plot twists, and some of them left me confused and frustrated. Joaquin Phoenix gives a great performance as this very sad character. Cross is a very conflicted, flawed individual, but Joaquin Phoenix delivers and commits to this character. Pedro Pascal is also very good too, and again, I mentioned this earlier, the two of them have really great back and forth, and I honestly wish this movie had allowed them to have more of those exchanges than what was given, because the two of them are really good in those sort of heated arguments that they have. My biggest complaint with the casting is having Emma Stone in such a thankless, underused role. Emma Stone is great, so this is not a knock against her performance because she does a really good job with what she's given, but as Cross's wife, she basically is just kind of there to serve his character arc and not given much else. And it's really a shame because Emma Stone is so talented. The same can be said about Austin Butler, who basically just shows up briefly as this cult leader with an online following. Eddington is probably Ari Aster's most grounded movie based on the setting and the story, but unfortunately it's not his best. Now, I was pretty disappointed by this movie. I say this as someone who has enjoyed most of Ari Aster's movies, not all of them. This one reminded me a lot of Beau is Afraid, where with that movie, I enjoyed the first half of that movie and didn't really enjoy the rest of it, and overall ended up not enjoying just because of all the detours it took to tell the story. And this one was very similar, where it starts off pretty strong, and then there's just plot twist after plot twist. The messaging gets more and more muddled before it finally gets to the end. And it does start to make a lot more sense, and it does seem like the messaging starts to reveal itself a lot better. But yeah, for a good chunk of this movie, things go off the rails before it starts to course correct. There are some interesting things happening in the last 30 minutes or so. Like I said, the messaging starts to become more clear. There's some really great sequences and shots. But yeah, it takes a while to get to that point. And this is a movie that runs at about 2.5 hours, and it really honestly didn't need to be that long to tell this particular story. Now, regardless of how I feel about Eddington, I do think this movie is going to be very polarizing just because of the politics at play. And it's hard to do a movie like this, one that's so steeped in real life events, without drawing up some controversies. So those are my thoughts on Eddington, which is now playing in theaters. Do you plan on seeing it this weekend? Let me know in the comments. While you're here, like and subscribe, and stick around for more videos like this.